my favorite match was the Canadian and Alicia Fox.
Kevin Dunn, what the hell was that?
We come along.
Not that.
I suplex you, I put in the camel clutch, I'll break your back, I'll fuck your ass, I'll make you humble.
Am I a competent driver? Enough.
You can't spell. You can't write. You can't speak English. You're getting the version of the grass where the but outside.
Everyone of the wrestling world, this is the RSN Wrestling Podcast, your only wrestling podcast that gives you anything you want, if it's AEW, WWE, New Japan, all the big guys, all the little guys. This is the big guy Rich. On the other lines, we got Val the Mastermind.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And we got the one and only Nicholas Jason Lopez, a.k.a. NJL, a.k.a. the Knight That Runs the Site, a.k.a. I don't know what other fucking nicknames you have, so I'll just let you take it away to describe your electronic children, I guess you could say, that you run the two sites of.
Yeah, electronic children. I kind of like that. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt somewhere, somehow.
Children.
Hopefully something good will come of it. Yes. Greetings. I am the N in RSN. I think that can also be a potential. I don't know.
The N in RSN.
But,
That can go for both.
but, piggybacking off of what Rich just said, we are a three-man wrestling podcast going strong since 2015. We give you everything you want, just not chocolate. We don't have those kinds of capabilities, but you can listen to us talk about wrestling. I mean, that'll make up for it for sure.
So last time I heard if you give candy to kids, you get arrested, so we don't give away candy.
I like candy, though.
That's true.
And we're talking about a certain person that did get caught up in a lot of media stream heat, I would say. A certain dream. We'll talk about that in a few, but yeah. But yeah, I mean,
would you explain your electronic children that you...
children. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my electronic children. Oops, sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yes, I happen to own and run two websites. First one, well, for pro wrestling purposes, is ProWrestlingOpinion.com. I post a lot of reviews, news, all that fun sorts of stuff. If you're looking for reviews on old shows, throwbacks, and whatnot, feel free to check it out. I've done WCW Uncensored 1995, ECW Guilty as Charged 2001. I believe there's WCW in there somewhere from 2000, I believe. I don't even know for sure. The show was so bad that I almost lost my memory. Any show, 2015, 2016, start of 2017 on the mainstream circuit is there for your reading pleasure. And if you need some musical accompaniment to that, you can hop on over to the Music Bugle, which is my other website, where I post about up-and-coming artists in all genres. And there's a pretty good chance that you'll scroll down the homepage of the Music Bugle and you won't know any of those artists. Well, time to get acquainted. Music Bugle is your music fix. Welcome home.
But going back to what you said about your electronic children and you forgetting them, wouldn't be the first time a professional wrestler or a fan forgot their kids. Kurt Angle did it for about 25 years.
Yeah, the cruelty.
Tony, man.
Well, Heath Slater forgot all about them too until about 2016.
All of what? 13 kids that he has, but now he only has 2 apparently in TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
You can say that, yeah. I mean, on top of the fact, it's not unlike, Mae Young and The Hand and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like that where it's like, you show up in one random episode and then, okay, it's the 25th anniversary, it's the 1000th episode or the 25th anniversary. And then, you're all grown up. Oh, I had a son? I didn't know that. Cool. Some bullshit like that, I mean.
That's wrestling for you.
Yeah, that's wrestling for you, man. But I mean, beyond that, I mean, just Rich just said it.
Storyline.
Yeah, probably one of course, everything's storyline, definitely. I mean, if you believe in kayfabe, we're probably one of the best podcasts out there that actually can break it down in terms of what's going on, and then actually telling you, okay, this is what's why this is happening, how is it happening, what's the purpose of this, that, and other stuff. I mean, one of the big things, of course, we talked about, I think, in our previous Running the Rope series, I would say, is kind of about, like, the whole pandemic, how it affected the wrestling world, shut down shows, not a lot of people can come into the rings. I mean, let's talk about, of course, the new concepts that are coming out now. With the whole economy kind of coming back, everything coming back right now, what do you guys feel about this whole thing with, pro wrestling having shows again, stuff like that, bringing back fans, or in WWE's case, the Thunderdome?
Well, before we start talking about the Thunderdome, I do like the fact that AEW is actually bringing in physical fans. Only 15% capacity, I think they said, or 20.
Yeah.
But the only thing with that is they're not going to be able to be ringside, because that's where the wrestlers are going to be. From what I'm hearing, they're going to be more up and like I guess you could say the 100 section seats. If you're familiar with seating in arenas, there's the floor, then there's the 100s, the 200s, the 300s. I believe they're going to be in the 100 section. But of course, it's going to be the 6 feet apart thing, so it's going to be every 2 or 3 chairs, which I think is great. It's a way to start it.
Yeah. Nick, what about you? What are your thoughts on people bringing back, like wrestling companies bringing back fans, and then also, like, let's say, like, for example, WWE doing, like, let's say, like Thunderdome, for example?
Okay. Oh, there's so much that. Oh, I don't even know where to start. Well, within the realm of a worldwide pandemic that is challenging the very essence of humankind and testing the political and physical and mental strengths of everybody involved, I have mixed feelings on this, because it's like, alright, cool, we want to slowly bring back forms of live entertainment. I mean, obviously, being involved in the music Bugle, I've kind of gotten to witness firsthand how the music industry has been affected by the pandemic. Pretty much all live music has been halted. A lot of places are going to, live streams and things of that nature. So I wasn't shocked that that wrestling would kind of fall under that same umbrella. I mean, WWE kind of did what they could for the moment with WrestleMania, and it came to a point to where we weren't sure when they were gonna, be able to tape more shows. They ended up being called essential, and they've been at the Performance Center ever since, except until now, with this whole Thunder.
Do that.
So my thing is this: we haven't really truly hit a second wave of COVID-19. So while all of these measures of slowly bringing back fans is great, I mean, if you're able to do all that social distancing and all these protocols, whatever works, excellent. But, we haven't really truly hit, what happens when things get bad again. The cold weather is approaching. People are probably going to get sick again. It's going to be flu season. Kind of almost already is flu season. People are going to start getting their flu shots. So, we can make these steps, but, at what cost? And it's hard not to be a pessimist in 2020. It's just kind of the culture now. So my thing is this, like, how long before things get bad again are we going to end up going back to what we were doing before? These are the kinds of questions you have to ask. As far as the Thunderdome, that I will get back to that one. But as far as the Thunderdome, something like that, I mean, I guess it's a cool interactive experience for the fans, something unique. But my thing is this, sorry, yeah, it's free, but this was something that we were talking about before we went live, is, if you're paying for it, are you getting the view of how it would look on the monitor, say if you were at the arena, or what am I getting out of signing up for this? I've yet to truly find that out. As far as watching it as a viewer, based on some of the snapshots I've seen of SmackDown, particularly of Braun Strowman standing in the ring with Retribution, and looking at all of the brightly lit monitors surrounding the ringside area, it's kind of distracting. Like I was looking at the picture, and I'm almost. It's really hard to focus on what's happening in the ring because of all of these little squares, bright little squares surrounding, in my peripheral vision. So, that being said, is it a long-term solution? I don't think so. And how long can they keep this up for? That's going to be my question. But as far as like show quality, I don't know how it's going to affect things. It kind of would be cool if they did introduce it, just to have Retribution kind of, take hammers to all of the monitors, because that would be total savagery. So I don't know if maybe this could be like a little brief silver lining. Maybe they're testing this out to see how it would work before it to ultimately be a part of the storyline, or if this is something that they're actually really sticking with. It could change how we view live shows in the future for years to come. But I know everybody kind of wants to go back to an original setting. Just the good old sit around with your friends and watch the ring. But I don't think we're getting back to that anytime soon. And I guess we'll ultimately see in the long run, how it is. But TLDR, it's kind of distracting as a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, I can add on to that. I think it's kind of like where this is more like a stunt for them to boost up the performance and quality of the programming. Like, I guess, it makes the entrances look good. Like, I mean, when I was watching SmackDown, I like the fact that they incorporated it into like the graphics of the entrance and stuff like that. They made it into a whole thing. Like, we seen the Fiend's entrance, that was pretty cool. Like, you saw lasers and all that stuff. You saw like the screens that were used for the fans being part of that whole setup and everything. But it seems like we're in this kind of like if you guys seen Black Mirror, they had an episode where these guys were in this like thing and then everything's simulated. They have a simulated audience. It was kind of like it was weird.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember that episode.
I think that's the was that the one with the competition, the singing competition?
Yeah, there was like a competition. It was like American Idol, I guess, or I don't know, like.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. This is what it kind of reminds me of. It's kind of like that kind of setup where it's like there's a virtual fan thing, and it's like, okay, this is the experience that you're having now. I mean, it's just the way it is now. COVID-19's here. We really can't do nothing about it. But
unless WWE really wants to just become Black Mirror.
If they want to, yeah. If they just do Black Mirror, fine, fuck it. Might as well, just virtual experience. Why not? But then I think it's also kind of like, where, and there was reports backstage that Vince was pretty pissed at the fact that there are no fans there. Some of the people in the back, like that work around the back and everything, writers, they're in a bad mood. But now since they brought back Thunderdome, and they brought this whole Thunderdome concept into it, people are kind of more, uplifted, like, okay, there's some hope for this, there's something different now. We don't always have to be in the performance center. There's something else that we can do, I think they said something about how this setup that they have, WWE is giving Amway Center, I think $500,000 or something like that, to just
$490 for the $490,000 this month, $490,000 next month.
That's crazy. So I mean, there's a lot of money not just going to Amway Center, but then also to Florida, which is good for them.
Almost $1 million a month worth of shows.
Yeah. I mean, on top of the fact this whole setup is kind of sophisticated, you look at it, I mean, I think there might be just something they're trying to test out. I mean, they're probably thinking the plexiglass wasn't working. Let's move on to something different. Maybe this might work. Maybe we can tour and...
I actually like the plexiglass with the wrestlers behind it.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like that WWE's doing that AEW isn't.
Yeah.
WWE is telling the performance center superstars who to cheer for and who to boo for. AEW is just whoever the fuck you want to cheer for, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to boo them, go ahead.
Nick brought this up in previous shows, I think. It was the whole cue card setup, yeah.
Yeah, that, and I want to say I think WWE has improved upon it just a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
But I've seen something on the internet, early on, there was a meme going around of someone in an Iconic shirt booing the Iconics, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't quite make sense, but you know, it still is kind of coming across like a corporately approved, you know, this is what we want, how you guys want to come across, cheer everybody you're supposed to cheer for, and boo everybody you're supposed to boo. Whereas AEW is just naturally more organic, and, you know, that's something that they got down pat from the get-go, and they never really had to tweak anything for it, but you know, they're working with the circumstances. WWE is just kind of creating their own video game audience that doesn't really interact with the show, and is kind of just there to fill up space and sound. That's kind of been my take on it. Now, I mean, watching the two, I truly believe, I think AEW is the better show, only because of the energy level, and I think the ringside, you know, the crowd has to do a lot with that. You know, it's say what you want, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you enjoy the show, and I think AEW is doing this a little bit more. Not to say that NXT isn't great, because NXT is NXT. I'm not gonna sit here and dispute that. You know, the quality isn't still as good. It probably has gone down a touch, but that was probably going to be expected given the week after week after week general television sparring with another wrestling company that's right across the other channel. So, but I think AEW is just bringing something every single week that maybe NXT is just missing. Like, they're just missing the mark. But they're both very good, solid shows. To not be very good, you know, it kind of speaks dividends. That you know, like AEW is 98% and NXT is 96%. If you really want to judge quality, that's just kind of how I see it at the moment.
That's right.
Well, in your opinion, both of you guys, like, we'll all three answer. Who has the better quality since the pandemic started?
AEW.
AEW.
Unanimous.
They do what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also they can also go out to other realms that WWE can't, because WWE is always gonna have an excuse for, oh, we can't do it this way, we can't do it this way. They had this whole thing where I think majority of their staff were tested positive for COVID. That's bad press for them. They're like, oh shit, we want to be good on our press and everything. Whereas AEW is just like, listen, we're starting out, we can do whatever the fuck we want. You know, we're not gonna recognize.
The way I see it, you guys might agree with me. The way the way I'm looking at AEW, all the creative is looking at it from a fan's perspective of what the fan actually wants.
That's right.
And that's come from just being who they are and seeing where they come from. It's pretty easy to kind of stay within those waters and create a product that people are going to get behind.
That's right.
You know, obviously everybody was worried when the pandemic started how wrestling would be affected, but you know, AEW's kind of proven that they can kind of take the ball and run with it. You know, the tornado can strike, and their house will, you know, may get a little bit damaged, but it's still standing. Whereas kind of WWE is, you know, they kind of lost their foundation a little bit, and they're trying to hold it together with their bare hands, which can only last for so long. That's kind of what the struggle feels like.
Like, I mean, yeah, Cody has booked himself over the last 8 months, losing only one match this year. But out of those matches that he has won, look at the match quality. Who do you face, Mark Quinn or Isaiah? I forgot.
I think it was Isaiah.
Yeah, I think it was Isaiah.
No, I think it was Quinn. Yeah, it was Quinn.
With an injured ankle, Mark Quinn still put on a fucking great match. The match Eddie Kingston, great fucking match.
And I knew Kingston back from Shakara in like 2010, 2011, so he's come a long way for sure.
Fucking the match against Scorpio Sky was cool. I personally think that was Scorpio's best match in AEW.
I think, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, but I think would you guys say that this whole open challenge concept of him just winning every single week is really just burying wrestlers? Like, if you look at, let's say, like, compared to Triple H back in the day when he used to wrestle, he used to go ahead and actually bury people, and he has the reputation like, oh, everybody that was put against him, he would bury them, and it's kind of like, I think that's where the argument comes from. It's like, this guy's a champ, he's holding the title, he has his open challenge, and we're expecting to cheer for him, but it's kind of like he's burying everybody. What do you guys say?
A rebuttal for you on that one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not arguing with you or nothing.
Yeah.
But I just want you to answer this question for me.
Yeah.
Who has Cody really buried since this open challenge, though? It's just a loss.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too. It's not like where he's burying them. And
yeah. Between losing the match and actually burying.
Exactly.
Buried.
I mean, the term buried is I feel like it's the wrong term to use here. But
it might be an extreme, I would say.
I can't help but feel like, going into a Cody match, these days, it's like, oh, well, he's clearly going to win. Let's see how good his opponent does. It's losing its predictability factor. And, when I go into a match, I kind of want to have an idea of, well, it could really go either way. Cody winning, with the exception of one, it really kind of takes away from that. So while it is giving us good matches, not going to disagree, but the train is kind of nearing to the last stop, and I just kind of hope that they do this carefully, because it'll eventually drag the show down. You can only have so many standout matches with up-and-comers before people really start to lose interest. And it's tricky waters. AEW's managed to do good so far, but I'm sure the hardcore fans know that, Cody's going to win in the end. Because that's just kind of how it's been booked lately. So careful waters they're treading. But, hopefully they have the wherewithal to do what's necessary to get out of it okay.
In your guys' opinion, who do you think he's actually going to drop the title to?
For me, I think it's hard to say. I think it's just, he's probably going to hold on to that title for a while, and then they're probably just going to build it up to... That's
the struggle of a weekly challenger, is that you can't really build up anybody, to be a credible threat. You only get to maybe 5 minutes of teasing as near falls. So that's another aspect of it too. So how long can they keep it going? I would love to have somebody build up, in a proper way to kind of be shown as a threat to Cody's title, and not just these weekly challenge matches. Because as good as they could be, it's gonna get tiresome after a while. But something I did want to bring up, and I know MJF obviously won't be in that discussion. He's kind of rightfully in the main event, even though he kind of has that challenger of the month feel to him. But the campaign thing is as great as it could possibly be. Anybody who follows him on Twitter, it's one of the most funniest things going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to, an MJF title run could be very easily done. It's just a matter if they pull the trigger or not. That I don't know for sure. But it's been a fun ride, definitely. And I think it'll be a worthy main event.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, with him, with MJF, I think there's a lot of good stuff going on with all these guys doing and everything. Like, if you see, they kind of they went up against something. I think the people making big comparisons with something that was happening in WWE that was similar to MJF. I forgot really what it was, but they were kind of going back and forth with it. Or I think it was it was people were saying that how MJF's address segment was kind of similar to what EC3 did a couple of years ago in Impact. He did a similar kind of thing, and then they were getting criticized, saying, "Oh, you guys are stealing that."
They copied Impact Wrestling because EC3 did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
In 2015, yep. And a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. And I think it's.
But at the same time, though, it's hard to, I appreciate that they kind of one-up them a little bit, because whereas EC3, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks give or take, they've kind of done this MJF campaign thing long enough, and obviously between 2015 and 2020, you managed to get a lot more advanced on social media. You can welcome in petitions and things like that, so it's a lot more interactive. And I think that it's a good way to go. I just kind of wish it was a little bit closer to November.
Yeah.
To kind of do this, but at the same time, it's kind of had a slow burn approach to it. As MJF's been saying, we deserve better. I want to say since maybe June or so. So it's not like they rushed it, but at the same time, it's like
they built it up. They gave enough time to build up. I think. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's one of those segments where it's like this guy, like, they can build him up and eventually, like, especially now with the whole political climate that it is now. We don't like to get political here. I mean, it's, if it was like a year later, I think it would have worked for EC3. It would have been great. But now, especially with all this stuff going on, the election and everything, it's perfect right now. It's the perfect time to do this kind of stuff. So it's good on their part to do this stuff now, And, I mean, of course, they're creating new stars, whereas WWE, they're trying to create new stars, but it's kind of like they don't have a lot of flexibility. I mean, if you look at all the different people that they got, they don't.
Look at the two.
Yeah.
AEW, yes, they do have a lot of people from other companies, but there's also a lot of homegrown people.
Yeah.
Just to name a couple people. Darby Allin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of these people I'm naming, that will be naming in the next couple seconds, have been from the independents. But Private Party, MJF, Darby, all four of those guys, Sammy Guevara, 5 guys, all under the age of, what would you say, maybe 25, 26 years old?
Yeah.
All these guys are under the age of 25, 26. They have nothing but positive shit to look forward to in the future compared to NXT and WWE. They're getting people from other companies who are in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, trying to build them up. I'm not shitting on them, but how much can you really do with Finn Balor, who came into the company at, 33 years old? How much can you really do with Bray Wyatt? There's not much you can really do with them. AEW, on the other hand, you have all these kids, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, less than 26 years old. They have a good, God forbid, knock on wood, any injuries happen, their careers could be cut short. If not, you have a good 15 years to work with these guys.
Yeah, that's a fact. Let's talk about in terms of, what's going on now, like with live events right now and everything like that. With, if you look at, let's say, like New Japan, for example, New Japan. I'll go on a tangent for a little bit and then I'll kind of come back. But New Japan, of course, they have all these stars, people that left. The Kenny Omegas left, the AJ Styles left. All these big stars that were coming in, New Japan winning their title, have left and gone. Now they have to create new stars. Now they have to create, beyond just Okada, they gotta have like other people. Like they have, I think they have Hiroshima, who's really trying to build up there. They have, a whole bunch of names there. But it's like, if WWE could do the same thing, even better for them.
I'm a big Jay White, though.
Yeah, Jay White. Yeah, Jay White is on fire too over there. But it's again, like these guys built themselves up over there, and now like on in New Japan, that's where the base is, and then they're coming here, and it's even better for them. Of course, if you look at right now with the whole landscape right now, there's a lot of people that have in WWE, for example. Right, let's look at this weekend even. Like right now at this time of this recording, TakeOver is about to happen. TakeOver, they're trying to build these new stars. Like they have Punishment Martinez, who's on NXT now. Trevor Lee, but all these guys, like they have it, they have to just throw them into the limelight. They can't just go ahead and just say, okay, we're building them up, we're building them up, we're building them up. How many more takeovers does it take to build up these guys? Just throw them in the position. They can do it. For example, Karrion Kross right now, Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. These guys are having a match. A lot of people are saying, oh, this might be Keith Lee's exit from NXT. It might not be. You never know. It might be that they're trying to build up Cross. You never know. But it's kind of one of those things where it's like, this whole build up that they're having, that's what WWE. They have a very very stagnant kind of build, and they're not really capitalizing on all the stuff that they have. Let me ask you guys this with this
Nothing
before.
against Johnny Gargano,
Yeah.
but I love Johnny.
Yeah.
Great fucking talent. Great wrestler.
Gargano, yeah.
How many takeovers can you put this guy on though?
Exactly.
This is what. How many is this now? 18, I think he's been on.
Yeah.
Well, he is Johnny Takeover.
But the guy is 37 years old, some shit, like between 35 and 38. How much more?
My thing is this though. He's come a long way as well. Like I said, I remember it back from Chicago, like 2009, 2008, and it's not like he was just brought over here like a carrying cross, big name. He arguably made himself in NXT, so he's earned the title he's had. He's worked through the ranks, earning everybody's respect, and he can work heel or face and still be very good. So when it comes to Johnny, it's like I don't really have that kind of point of view when it comes to him, because if it wasn't for NXT, he wouldn't have the status that he has now. And it's not like he was a big name elsewhere. He, grinded it out over here in the company. So, I think, let the guy have his moment, use him as much as he can.
Yeah.
You don't know how much longer he's gonna have.
That's right. I mean, also to add on to that, there's WWE just released the all the other promotions, Progress, Evolve, WXW, and they put them on the network. So I guess it's kind of like now they're going towards that route. It's like let's not just have the Randy Ortons, the people that we established, but also let's bring in other people that have made it in the indies and then bring them onto the main screen.
What I was saying was I have nothing against Johnny, but give him some time on the main roster, though. Like, how many takeovers can you put this guy on?
But you gotta take this into account too. But Rich, you gotta take this into account too. They did the same thing with EC3. They did the same thing with Cedric Alexander, Leo Rush. They did the same thing with Humberto Carrillo. All these guys that were quote unquote when they come on the main roster, Vince's toys, quote unquote. Now they're like either they got released, they're in mid card spots. Do you really want to see Gargano in that spot though? That's what I'm kind of thinking. It's like.
The worst one that you named is probably Ricochet.
Yeah. Oh my God. They dropped the ball with this guy. Like exactly, it's the same thing. And I think that's the thing with Gargano. Like if you go to the main roster, what if they do the same thing to him? It's the same story.
Robert, worst one so far.
It's the worst, man.
Besides EC3, Robert Roode is probably right there.
Yeah. Like real underused, like they're not even using them, they're not utilizing them, they're just kind of putting them out there, and they're like, okay,
By the way,
yeah.
Is Robert Roode still with WWE?
So.
Yeah, Robert Roode's still with WWE, I think. Yeah.
Maybe he's in Retribution.
He's probably in Retribution. Yeah.
Look at anybody who's been off TV for a while, and that could be your answer right there.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if it's like people who got furloughed. This is the way that they're bringing them back.
Yeah, like Sarah Logan.
Oh.
And,
Apparently, Corey Grace is gonna call Takeover.
Really?
No Renee Young.
No, Sarah Logan's not coming back. She's pregnant. She's doing her own thing now.
Well, what about Renee Young?
Congratulations to Raymond Rowe and Sarah Logan on their pregnancy. Congratulations.
Big shout out. But yeah, I mean, what about let's say Renee Young, for example? Like she's not calling NXT Takeover then?
Yeah, tomorrow's her last day.
That's crazy, man.
Well, she doesn't usually call Takeover. It would be Beth Phoenix. It's kind of easy to get the two confused. They kind of sound alike, but yeah.
That's right.
Call SummerSlam, and that's it. Then she's going to AEW.
Well, we don't know that one for sure yet.
Yeah. But what do you guys think that's really from? Was it just from they're just tired of Renee Young, or do you feel like it's the whole COVID-19, like her announcing and everything?
It could be the COVID-19. Look how poorly they handled it, and then she caught it.
And she got heat for it, probably. That's probably why, right?
I think she's leaving by choice.
But it seems like she's leaving by choice. It doesn't sound like it's anything other than amicable on both ends. So I'm thinking it's probably, you know, she's been around for a while, so
I think she just wants to go to AEW.
everybody's not going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
She said she got offers from ESPN and Fox.
Yeah.
To call actual sporting events.
Definitely. Paul Heyman was saying how she's probably one of the most like valued sportscasters, I would say, in all of, you know, sports right now. Like she's the most highest in demand right now compared to anybody else. If you bring like yeah.
That has been highly requested, but she already signed somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's someone else who left WWE about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Caruso.
Yeah. And also, who I think Dasha Fuentes is on AEW also, right?
Yeah, she is.
Dasha, yeah. A lot of these people, like, and then, I mean, of course, just to piggyback off of that, I think recently there were rumors, like, this is right before, like, during SummerSlam weekend, or right before it, that some stars were contacting AEW to say, hey, we want a job there. Which is kind of like, again, it's like, what's, you know, why do you guys think that they're doing this? Why do you guys feel like there are some people that are like, yo, I want to go to AEW? Like now, of all times.
Question? Can I answer?
Yeah.
It's a very simple answer. Because they know they're going to get utilized properly.
But they still have like long-term contracts though, and like it's kind of like, you know, I think WWE used the kind of the pandemic as kind of like an opportunity. They kind of said, okay, we released all these other guys, you know, you guys are in this company for a reason, you know. So it's kind of like, you know,
they're getting shit on me.
Yeah. So maybe they're trying to go ahead and send that message out, but then these guys are like, we're underappreciated, we're frustrated, let us leave too. We're ready to leave.
Do you know why WWE's afraid though?
It's AEW. Is it?
Because they didn't think that there will be another company to actually compete with them.
That's true.
Because now, yeah, back then you had Ring of Honor, who was a very high-ranked company.
Yeah.
You had TNA, who was,
Well,
yeah.
they did enough to be considered number 2 back in like 2010 that they messed that up.
Yeah.
But now you have a legit jumpstart company who's been around for a little over a year now, who everyone wants to go to. All the fans rather watch AEW than NXT, except for 5 weeks? I think NXT beat AEW in the ratings.
And they had to put on some really good shows for that one.
Yeah. They have to really they have to go out their wheelhouse. They gotta say, all right, we gotta put everything into it. Like I remember that week when they had the Bash, there was so much build to it. They said, nah, we have to go ahead and kill them in the ratings.
But a legit competition now.
Yeah.
With AEW.
That's right.
Where NXT and WWE are literally shitting their pants like, holy shit, we could lose A, B, C, D, E to go to AEW and they could be big stars.
That's right, yeah.
That's why they want to try to utilize as many people as possible, which why I think they're bringing Shane in as the head producer of Raw, which now people are understanding why Raw Underground is the thing now.
Yeah. Well, what are you guys' thoughts about this whole shoot style wrestling that's going on?
It feels like it wants to be Fight Club, but it's not quite Fight Club because it's Raw.
Yeah.
It's actually full TV time now.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say this that shoot match that they had with Dolph Ziggler and I think it's Eric Ivar, right? That was kind of interesting. I was like, no lie, I was like, wow. I was like, holy shit, Dolph Ziggler actually outclassed him. I was like, oh wow, it's pretty interesting. But then all that other shit with Nia Jax.
I was Roderick Strong's wife though.
Yeah, like Maria Shafir and all stuff.
You know who she fought, by the way?
She was about to fight, but then Nia Jax came in and
She actually fought someone though.
no, probably the week before, I'm guessing.
Maria Shafir fought Brandy Lauren.
Right, yeah. So you're right. So I think right.
Girlfriend.
Right.
She fought Jody Canel's girlfriend, and that's when Nia Jax came in.
Mm-hmm. And then she interfered, and see that I don't understand that. Like they're supposed to have this continuity about come in there and do this, and then they just totally just offshoot and say, oh no, we're gonna do this to go ahead and build off of this storyline that we randomly have, which is like, come on, man. And I mean, especially with this whole retribution thing, I mean, we talked about the names, who's going to be revealed as the members, right, whatever, right? And it said that whoever's there is not really a member. It's just, they're trying to build up to the storyline. I think it's going to come to the point where we're just going to keep on bringing Retribution in. And I'm kind of asking myself, like, okay, so when are they going to reveal who's running Retribution? Are they even going to? It might just be, like, to the point where it's like, oh, it's like the same similar situation as, oh, we build this up, and, oh, the general manager is Hornswoggle. Oh, whatever. Throw it out. Forget it,
Great way to actually get some unmaskings is at Raw Underground.
Yeah. They haven't connected. I thought they were going to connect both storylines, like Retribution and Raw Underground. But they didn't do that.
Good way to actually unmask people. Get some of the guys from Raw Underground and the women.
Yeah, Mom.
Because apparently there's supposed to be 1 or 2 women in the group. Get them to beat down Retribution. And then, boom, unmask.
Yeah.
Although Shane is the head of it now, so I can picture doing that.
Right. I mean, if you look at now, like with the whole, I think booking-wise and everything, they have some help now. It's not just Bruce Pritchard running, both shows now. I mean, they had it to the point, of course, you brought up that Shane McMahon might be running Raw soon. They have,
it's final. This coming Monday is going to be Shane's first official Raw by himself.
But then I think they also have helper roles too. I think because they have like a kind of like a locker room like leader kind of role where it's like I think Edge is helping out for writing for Raw, and then Daniel Bryan is helping writing for SmackDown, which is pretty good too. I mean, it's kind of like it's not just them. Because if you look at like there's like a whole bunch of interviews where people were talking to Bruce Pritchard and talking about him, they were saying that how he's pretty tired. He sounds tired. Like when they've talked to him and stuff like that, just about like hey, casual conversation. He sounds tired and everything. He's like, he's frustrated. He's, it's a lot of stress. I mean, he's a normal guy.
Like 5 hours of work.
It's a lot of writing and a lot of stress. I mean, on top of the fact you have to be Vince's right-hand man. And you already know Vince is like, he's a machine. He's like, I'm ready to, write the show for next WrestleMania or something. He's ready for doing that, right there, right on the spot. He's not just going to be all like, okay, let's just wait. Let's give you a break. He's go, 100%. Let's just keep going.
No, I want a year worth of writing within the next week.
Yeah. And then he'll just rip it right in front of your face and be like, this is not what I want. And you might have spent an hour, all the blood, sweat, tears, whatever, be like, it's not good enough. So, I mean, I give it the hats to Bruce Pritchard for writing the show. He's doing his best. And now, of course, they're bringing other people on. We'll see how that goes,
It's a lot of stress on Bruce, though.
Yeah. That's true. They could have. I mean, it's...
The funny thing is, like, whenever I think of show quality, always going back to Heyman, and at least he was building new stars, but butting heads with Vince. I guess besides for the whole Lana storyline, I could forgive the quality of the show. Because at one point, Raw was really coming into its own, and, it wasn't long before Heyman would eventually get axed, but it was nice while it lasted. Before that, though, Raw kind of had a reputation for being really, really bad. And thinking back to SmackDown, I can't help but feel the last time SmackDown was truly like, I can't really miss this, was back in like 2016 after the draft, because once it started going live on Tuesdays and had the reputation of being a show that, oh, hey, we actually have people on our roster, let's push them. Ever since, that kind of faded away, I feel like SmackDown's kind of lost its touch a little bit. I always feel myself yearning to go back to the days of the initial SmackDown Live, because that's the last time that the show really felt like it was truly relevant.
Or took over from the Saudi trip.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that was one of the best SmackDowns in the past years.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, again, it's that unpredictability factor. If it's just predictable, everybody's just going to be like, all right, whatever. I can watch this, I can DVR it. I can watch online, the highlights, whatever, Especially in this time where it's like, not everybody's working. Everybody's at home. And there's nothing really on TV. There's nothing really to do. And this is like a prime time like kind of thing. Like, this is like, oh, wow, nobody has nothing to do. This is a perfect opportunity. Everybody's going to be watching this. But then there's some people that are still, like, for me, I personally, like, there's times where I watch Raw, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to watch the highlights. Fuck it. Where SmackDown was like, I'm just gonna watch the highlights. Fuck it, forget it. You know, and it's kind of like it's the same kind of thing where it's like now, especially now with this whole pandemic and everything, everybody's at home. Everybody has time to watch the show, but they're kind of like, you know what? I'll skip it. I'll watch it later on. And that's the thing. Like you're supposed to have everybody glued to the screens. Like, oh wow, something big's gonna happen. Let me watch.
You could say you missed it.
Yeah.
You could watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, you couldn't. You had to wait a month for it to go onto the WWE Network.
That's right.
So if you missed one episode, you're going to be a month behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my world.
Nick, you know that. No, you know about that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I know that life. I don't like that life.
God damn. I'm telling you.
That's what I went through in 2016 once the draft started happening, and they did pay-per-views every 2 weeks.
Oh my god, that was
And
me.
I'm trying to keep up with
hated
Lucha
that.
Underground, Ring of Honor, and TNA.
Yeah.
Sal, remember every 2 weeks there was a pay-per-view? How many shoots we did?
Yeah. There was a pay-per-view. There was a mini pay-per-view. There's all this kind of stuff going on.
I have a question for both of you guys. Where can these listen to our old episodes where there was a pay-per-view every 2 weeks? So me and Sal had to do shoots every 2 weeks. Do any of you two know where we could tell these fans to go?
I'm trying to get my thinking cap on for this
Trying to
one.
get my thinking cap too, man. I gotta think hard for this.
I think there's a site that someone runs.
Yeah. I see 3 letters, man. 3 letters. 3 letters that stick out to me. I remember in school, I used to go ahead and go on this website. And if I was in the middle of a lecture, I'll be bored. And I'd be like, all right, you know what? Let me just pop on, see what's going on. And I would pop that, the website right there on my laptop while in the middle of the lecture, while the teacher's talking, while the kids in the back are going, what the fuck are you reading? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I know I'm reading. And it would help me. We're all talking about, of course, PWO, Pro Wrestling Opinion. And who's the guy that runs it? Oh, it's none other than NJL, Nick Jason Lopez. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
What a
That's
what a brilliant idea.
That's our plugs. Yes. But I mean, it's also, you talk about that and stuff like that. Definitely on PWO. We used to always have to go through all that stuff where it's like covering these shows. There would be many pay-per-views every single week. I mean, before, yeah.
The year 2016 alone, I believe, had 27 pay-per-views in 12 months.
That's a lot of hours of wrestling, folks. A lot of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a headache, I can tell you for sure. I mean, and of course, watching these shows and stuff like that, it was hard, but then also covering it, even harder. So that's why, of course, NJL does it for you guys, which is, again, a big thanks. Big hats off, to you for that. I mean, but right now they also have, before we kind of wrap it up, let's talk about SummerSlam, what you really hope to come out of this, and then also where's this going to go moving forward with the build. I mean, of course, they have Payback coming up, I think, next week, which is kind of interesting. Payback is coming up a week after SummerSlam.
It's bringing back bad memories.
Which, again, they're bringing back those mini pay-per-views and all that stuff, so it's like, oh, wow, it's 2016 all over again, fine. But then, what do you guys feel about the build-up for this? Like, the main points, meaning, let's say SummerSlam, WWE title, Universal title, maybe the women's titles, of course, and the women's tag titles. Where do you guys feel like that whole picture's going now?
Well, to be honest, I hate that they're making Asuka fight for 2 titles tonight, and possibly a 3rd title next week at Payback. Are they trying to make her run everything?
At the same time, though, for the longest time, I felt like Asuka wasn't being used right. So seeing her kind of become the new Charlotte, I'm not really complaining, because whenever you put Asuka in a match, the match quality automatically goes up. So I use the hell out of her. She's like the female Daniel Bryan almost.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look into the fact that Becky Lynch is out of order. She's, pregnant and stuff like that. She's getting a kid. Charlotte Flair is out because she has surgery and all that stuff, and then also other stuff going on. Who else is there really that can carry the whole female roster?
Can I throw 2 names out who should be, 3 names who should be getting pushed?
On the WWE roster?
Yeah.
What do you got in mind? It's not Tessa Blanchard, right?
What was that?
It's not Tessa Blanchard, right?
No. On SmackDown,
Yeah.
you'd be pushing Lacey.
For sure, yeah.
On Raw, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. I think those 3 women should be pushed.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, but the thing with, let's say, like, for example, you talk about Lacey, right? They have all this stuff going on. They build up this whole thing about her, having this whole thing with Becky, and then when Becky went out of order, she kind of went kaput, like, totally out there. They turned her heel, turned her face, turned her heel, and then it's like, she's, like, lost in the picture now. And then also, if you see, like, let's say Liv, for example, it's the same kind of thing. I think it's just bad booking. Like, they go ahead and have her, in this whole storyline with Lana and, Rusev and Lashley and all stuff. Oh, who's the person that, was a secret lover? Oh, it was you. Like, come on, man. And then Lana had to go her separate way. Now she's with Natalia doing this whole selfie angle. And then you got Liv just doing her own thing, too.
And that you think is stupid.
Yeah, that's just, like, I think it's just them rehashing all the stuff and just kind of making up and saying, oh, no one saw that. We saw that.
Yeah, the only good thing I like about the Ruby Riott push, obviously, is, like, actually finally she's winning matches. Like, seeing where she's come from, obviously, with NXT, she had a run back when Riott only had one T, and then she was Heidi Lovelace on the indie scene. So she could go, but for some reason WWE, just because she doesn't look like a traditional, I guess, a traditional athlete, which is funny because back then. They used to not get a good push if you weren't bombshell cutie. Now it's like if you're not like an athlete, with big muscles and your name isn't Becky Lynch, it's almost like you kind of have to work harder to get that spotlight.
Okay.
And and I like Ruby, and that's not just because I come from the punk underground kind of lifestyle, like. I know people, in that lifestyle, and that's the kind of music that I listen to. So kind of seeing somebody represent that kind of thing, it's kind of like a toned down version of female version of Aleister Black almost, if they want to go that direction. But it's like she could go. It just it's about time that they strap the rocket to her. Because she could potentially carry the brand if they really wanted to go that route. And she's very likable. They just have to make her look good on TV.
She's talented as all hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's, even when you look at, let's say, like, for example, let's segue into the main title picture. So they have this thing with Alexa Bliss, The Fiend, Braun Strowman. Kind of, I think, falsely trying to introduce Alexa Bliss as the the Sister Abigail, right? That we've all been waiting for. Like, everybody's been hearing about Sister Abigail. Where is she? Who is she? Is she a really person? Was she just a puppet? Oh no, it's Alexa Bliss.
A couple years ago, before the whole Red Quad happened,
yeah,
I really thought they were gonna make, as everyone in the Indies remember her, which is Nick and all 3 of us, Tracy Mary Dobson, who is now Sarah Logan.
Yeah,
I thought she would have been the perfect Sister Abigail.
I think it's a number of names. I think Sarah Logan would have been perfect. Nikki Cross would have been perfect because she was Insanity at the time, which made sense.
Perfect.
But then Alexa, I'm kind of like, really, what are they really trying to get out of this? Is this just going to be a one-time thing, and then they basically just have her go on her separate route?
I hope they actually bring someone in full-time as Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
This is my thing about it. I feel like the whole Sister Abigail thing has been played off for so long. It's like I kind of don't really care anymore about it. They can have Alexa Bliss parade around as this, but it's not going to have the same effect it did back when you actually had a family.
Yeah.
That 2 of the 3 of the original Wyatt family members aren't even in the company anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Had Bray dress up as Sister Abigail?
When was that?
It was one of his friggin'.
Was it with Cena when he was building it with Cena?
I think so.
Probably. I think it might have been one of those matches. I think. I mean, the thing with his sister Abigail was kind of like the unspoken kind of thing. It's like, okay,
It was Orton with that fucking stupid ass match that they had. It was at the house. The House of Horrors match.
right. I think it's just like an Easter egg. I think that's really what it is. It's like, whether they bring it up into the cinematic matches. Like if you saw the whole last cinematic matches that they had with the, Extreme Rules, the Swamp, and all that stuff, and then, she comes out and it was this whole thing. It was like, oh, wow.
I like cinematic matches though.
Yeah.
I really like them.
Yeah.
Break the Boneyard match.
Yeah.
The Swamp fight.
Yeah. I mean, probably in a year in review, we'll probably have a separate category, best cinematic match, of the year.
That's fair, I believe.
Definitely, it should. I mean, it's again one of those things where it's kind of like. But then looking back at Alexa, for example, what are they really planning to have with her? Are they going to make her a separate star? Are they going to have her just tied with the Fiend for the time being and just have her not wrestle? Like, and that's one of the things too. Like, she's been wrestling, but when is the last time that she held a SmackDown Women's title or a Raw Women's title? It's been probably like a long, long time. I mean, if you remember 2016, 2017, she was dominating it. She was like a double champ. She was, having, she had the big spot, and then all of a sudden, just went, like, just like that, like just gone. So it kind of brings up, it's like, what the hell are they trying to do? But let me ask you guys this: with this whole thing, what do you guys feel about SummerSlam in terms of like, what do you feel is going to be the next step? What are your predictions, basically, for this?
I don't know.
I mean, for me, I could tell you, I think they're gonna have Braun lose the title. I hope they do. Fiend becomes champ. Basically, just build that up, and then they'll probably just have someone else come back. Maybe I'm hoping Finn Balor comes back and makes it to the main roster. You never know. And then for the title match, I think Randy Orton's gonna win. They're gonna build it up with Edge versus Orton for the WWE title down the line.
I can see that, but if you remember, a couple of shows ago, I made a whole friggin' prediction with what's going to happen with Edge. If no one remembers it, I'll bring it back up. Orton's going to win against Drew.
Yeah.
Edge is going to come back at the Rumble, win the Rumble, set up the final match at WrestleMania. So right there is a good 6 months.
I can see that, but I don't know, because Edge already kind of had his Rumble moment, the comeback. So if he, and especially that it wouldn't be happening in front of a crowd. Like, I don't even know for sure. And the Rumble's not even that far away. It's like in 4 months practically.
Yeah.
I
feel like they're gonna have.
We can see what they're gonna do, but for me to have Edge win the Rumble would be a little bit too easy. It kind of feels the same. Like it wouldn't really differentiate from the moment that he had this past year. So I would hope that they would do something different to kind of set that up. They could always have Orton win the Rumble.
I feel like Brock might win the Rumble this year. They might be trying to build that up. I mean, you never know. Yeah.
I think that happening. To have him go after who, though?
They can have it against anybody. I think at this point, it could probably be The Fiend, I'm guessing. It seems like they're trying to just have The Fiend build up back to where it was. Like, before they fucking buried him when he faced Goldberg. And then eventually just going to have, him versus Brock. And it's like, okay, look at this, big showdown. Oh my God, for WrestleMania. And it's like, okay, fine. Or they could just have it with, like, do you think they're probably just going to have him go for the WWE title and just have it part of Edge and Orton? I don't think,
It's hard to really say.
Yeah.
And it's like the time between SummerSlam and Survivor Series is always tricky because it's like you don't really quite know what they're gonna do. And I don't even know how this Retribution thing is gonna play out with SummerSlam. Maybe there'll be 1 or 2 reveals. That's what people seem to be talking about these days.
Yeah, they're dubbing it the you'll never see it. The SummerSlam, you'll never see it coming. Which is kind of.
And I kind of like the tagline. I think giving the show a novelty kind of theme to it will help people remember what it is. Like, Backlash was greatest wrestling match ever. Horror show, Extreme Rules. Like, I miss that kind of thing. I remember WCW used to do that way back when.
They had good tags in WCW.
Yeah, give a show a tagline and you know, give them a prime reason to tune in. Yeah. But then when the show's over, long after it's over, you just say 2 words and you kind of already remember what happened with the show. It's a genius marketing concept. Right. I'm kind of happy that they're trying to embrace it a little bit.
That's right.
This tag, I'm not a fan of, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, if you see NXT TakeOver has done that for a while, where it's kind of like, you know, it's not just NXT TakeOver 1, 2, 3, where like UFC does it. It's kind of like, you know, NXT TakeOver Portland, you know, they have a location. So they might say something.
War games.
Yeah. The End, the, you know, Fatal 4-Way, or, you know, they have a theme to it.
90% of the takeovers had a name with it.
Yeah.
Takeover Our Revolution.
Yeah.
Takeover In Your House. Takeover Portland. Takeover Chicago. Like, there's always a name there was 90% of the time there was a name affiliated with the show.
Yeah. I mean, if SummerSlam, I mean, if they go down this route where it's like maybe Survivor Series might have a name, you know, all the stuff, the Big Four, even better. Fine, you know, it works best, you know. But then also, it comes back to what they center around.
Because I have a feeling it's just going to be the triple brand again.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
Well, yeah, you can't do it 1 year and then be like, oh, yeah, we're going to go back to 2 brands. That would be a total cop-out.
Yeah. I think everybody's looking forward to that. If they build this up to the point where it's like that, might as well.
There are potential great matches that they could have with champions.
Yeah.
Like, just say Cross wins tonight, Bray wins tomorrow, and just say Drew beats Orton, which I don't think can happen. If you want to throw a 4th person in there, and with Walter, you have Drew versus Walter versus Karrion Kross versus Bray Wyatt.
You basically have a monster. What do they used to call it back in TNA? Monsters Ball. Yeah, basically a Monsters Ball.
Like, if you want to do a women's one, just say Sasha and Bayley both retain. You have Sasha versus Bayley. I think Dakota Kai is going to win. And you have Kaylee Ray from UK. Great match right there.
Yep.
Then you have the tag team titles. Great 4-way match also. So if they want to incorporate all 4 brands, but put NXT UK with NXT, so that's 1 brand, but have 4 competitors, I think it's great.
Unless it has a 2020 twist and they do enough Retribution reveals to have them be the 4th brand.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be somewhere where it's like, you know, like Ministry of Dark. Yeah, it might be like the Ministry of Darkness reveal where it's like, you know, Retribution comes out, you know, one of them has a hood over them. It's like, we got the main guy here, and then next thing you know, pops it off, and then it's Triple H, and he's like, it was me, Rex, it was me all along.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you guys. We might get in trouble for this, but I'm going to do a little reveal. Since AEW just started, FTR now has a manager. And that manager is Tully Blanchard. So I can see the start of a new 4 horsemen.
Bring Arn Anderson in there, and that's it. We got that.
It's going to be FTR, Shawn Spears, and I don't know who the 4th person will be.
We'll have to see. I mean, yeah. It's, again, one of those things where it's like there's a lot of this stuff going on. I mean, I do respect one thing that AEW is doing. They're allowing, you know, other talents that have been there, like the Taz, Vicky Guerrero, Jake the Snake Roberts, all the legends that they got. They actually have a role. It's not just them okay, let's just do like a small segment or something. They're actually part of the company, you know.
The only thing is I feel like Vicky's bringing down, I almost said Nia Jax. I feel like she's bringing down Nyla Rose because she was already kind of good on her own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll probably do a section of that. But then I think it's like
Adding manager Carrot didn't really do anything much for me.
yeah, it didn't really do much for Nyland, like yeah, in that sense. But I think it's kind of like like if you see like Jake the Snake and Vance, like Vance Archer, who Lance Archer is right now, right? Basically, that's like I think that's great. Like they have Jake the Snake, hell of a technician, hell of a promo, wizard, leading this guy. And on top of the fact, on storyline, he's doing something, and then on kayfabe, he's also doing another thing. He's involved, so that's great,
For my opinion, I think the best manager in AEW right now, manager to wrestler wise, is Taz with Brian Cage and
sure.
Ricky Starks.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, that I agree with. I think Taz has kind of found his old self, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because for so many years he was seated at that announce table that he kind of lost his edge a little bit. And coming back into AEW, like he picked up his mic skills as if he dropped them on the floor.
And he has a young talent with Ricky Starks to build. And he has Brian Cage, who's already established, but could only get better.
Yeah. It's like you forget how good Taz could be on the mic. And why not use that to build the future?
What the hell?
That's true. Well, that being said, we're going to sign off. We're going to let you guys enjoy watching TAKEOVER and SummerSlam. And if you guys watch AEW, enjoy all 3 shows, because this is a great weekend for wrestling fans.
It's not a great weekend for baseball fans.
Yeah, I know. Especially if you're a Yankee fan. You had Yankees versus Mets, which got canceled because Mets staff and players came down with COVID.
Fuck, man.
Always something.
Yeah, it's always something with the Mets.
Always, man. Fuck.
That's why our side is always better.
Yep.
So, with that being said, we'll let Nick do his outro to just reiterate what he said earlier about his 2 electronic babies.
Yes. So for those of you surfing the interweb and you like wrestling and you want to read about it because it's fun, you can check out ProWrestlingOpinion.com. Got a whole bunch of reviews, a whole bunch of little nuggets. If you're into our podcast, which if you're listening this far in, I would think you are, you can feel free to listen to some of our past episodes. We're known for doing themed episodes, Rise and Fall of WCW, TNA, ECW. I think we even did WWE, CW. We've done everything you could possibly do, and there'll be plenty more coming. And then if you want to explore the music side, you could hop on over to themusicbugle.com, your avenue for up-and-coming artists in all genres of music. I don't see how anybody could lose with this situation.
Definitely. I mean, this, again, as Nick said it, we're also on PWO. We have a lot of other episodes. We also have a new intro, which you can check out on YouTube, but also it's on all of the other platforms as well. We're also on, again, Anchor. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. We're probably on every single platform that is out there. The iHeartRadio Radio Network, and a whole lot more. Also, you can check out the Instagram page, which is run by Rich. Of course, a lot of good content there, a lot of different things that we're doing there, so definitely check that out. But nonetheless, see you on Awesome Wrestling Podcast. See you guys out.
See you guys.
Adios.
See you.